Earlier today, I spoke with His Majesty the King to request the dissolution of Parliament. The King has granted this request, and we will have a general election on the 4th of July.
Welcome to Iddrai Goch. I'm Amy. This is Luke.
Welcome, and for all you non-Welsh speakers out there, welcome to the Red Dragon.
Right, we're really sorry about the technical problems we've had so far this evening. We were supposed to go live a few minutes ago. Unfortunately, Gremlins got into the system. But we seem to be live now. I'm just double checking this because I've just had a message saying that apparently we're not. Nope, we definitely are.
Yeah.
I just heard myself. Right. So, as you've all seen, we've got a very interesting show for you guys tonight. We're not going to be actively in the chat at the start of the show, just because we're going to be focusing on our guest.
Please bear with us. It's 2 weeks earlier than we planned to actually launch Iddrai Goch, but we're not missing the chance to interview an independent Westminster candidate for the newly created constituency of Bridgend.
Let's check out his announcement, shall we?
My name is Mark John. I'm an independent county councillor for St Bride's Minor and Ysowdra, and I'm pleased to say that I'm supported by Bridgend County Independents to stand for the new parliamentary ward of Bridgend, Pencoed and Porthcawl for the upcoming general election on the 4th of July.
Councillor Mark John, welcome.
Good evening and thanks for the invitation.
Thank you, Mark, for taking time out to actually speak to us tonight. It's taken a little bit longer than we expected with a few of the gremlins, but we'll get there. So, Mark, give us a little bit of your personal background and then maybe a little bit of your political background. Let people know who you are.
Personally, I believe that I'm the only potential candidate that was actually born in the old Bridgend hospital. I went my early years to Brinkethin Junior School, where I'm on the Board of Governors, and followed that by Gwnogmore Comprehensive School, which is in Brinkethin. I've done a 5-year apprenticeship as an agricultural engineer, followed by 4 years time served engineer. Worked away for a couple of years on construction. Managed to get back home, met my wife, who we've been married for nearly 30 years. And I managed to get a qualification that I'm basically qualified as health and safety manager through Bridgend Paper Mills, where I worked for quite a long time. So that's pretty much, in a nutshell, where I'm from, who I am.
Can you give us a little bit of your political background now?
Yeah, as you probably remember, Luke.
Yes, I do.
Stood against each other for Brinkethin as independents in 2017. So if I'm bluntly honest, it was probably the right thing in hindsight that I didn't get in, because I wasn't on a community council, probably didn't, in hindsight, have enough experience at the time. But there you go, it was what it was. It was a close fought thing, as you know, Luke.
Yeah.
I was elected to St Bride's Minor Community Council in September 2021, I think. And of course, then it gave me more of an. I've been following it anyway, but when you're actually elected as a member, you get more of an insight. You get more of the wheeling and the dealing and the insight of the runnings of a community council. And we were fortunate enough to be co-opted back on in May 2022, as I was fortunate enough to be elected by the residents of St Bride's Minor and Ysowdra in May 2022 as an independent candidate. So I've never affiliated to any political party. And the interesting thing, I think, where I'm lucky in my politics, from a very early age, my grandfather on my mum's side was a miner. Red as you could be. My grandfather on my father's side was a farmer who was as blue as the sea. So every Sunday when we all met up, well, I wouldn't call it debates, the arguments they'd have, and we're talking of the 70s when, you know, we had political unrest, we had 3-day weeks, we had power cuts, we had all sorts of things, we had strikes, and to sit there looking from one side to the other, listening to, I think you've got to know both, or you've got to understand both sides of any argument to be able to form an opinion. So that pretty much, I think that probably sums most of it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, obviously, we've just heard your background and everything. But what's made you go forward now for MP? And that's a big change from community council and local authority council, just jumping straight up to MP.
It is, but I believe the opportunity is there. I believe looking at the amount of independent county councillors and community councillors, I think people have realised, you know, the main two parties, I'm not going to call any other part, the main two parties, and I'm working for them. And I also think, and if you look back, it showed in 2019, Bridgend didn't want a Labour MP because they voted for Conservative, who's been an absence. So, you know, it shows that the two main parties are not working for anybody in Bridgend. Whereas now it's going to be Bridgend, Porthcawl, and we're including Pencoed because Pencoed is a town. So they're the three major hubs within the new boundary change, then, if that makes sense. And I just, so, you know, I just want to try and make things better for people. It's not just about party politics. It's about the people that you represent.
Yeah, exactly. As an independent, it's very difficult to get elected without party backing, with pledges and the financial help that parties give. So can you tell us why people should be considering voting for you with that concern in mind?
Well, look, I take the concern, I look at your concerns in different ways. The financial concern is not a concern in a way, but for the election then, because fortunately I could cover it myself. But I've also had so many people asking, are we going to set up a GoFundMe page where they can donate? So, you know, and that's people coming on to me, messaging me, ringing me. So the financial side of it, which it is substantial, but, you know, we can set that one to one side then, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you go on to the other points while you're there?
It's with when you're standing for a party, you get your pledges given to you by the party. You're an independent candidate, so you don't have that. So you don't look at the overarching policies like we'll fix NHS or we'll fix roads or things like that. So as an independent, you've got to go more personal.
Yes.
So why in that way should people consider? Because generally the UK election is an overall thing rather than just local.
I think you can look at a lot of things with an agricultural background, being a farmer's son as well. I've got farming in my blood, and you know, without farmers, you got no food. So it's such an important issue. And with the SFS that is trying to be introduced by the Senedd, you know, they change it from the year. They just kick the can down the road. You know, you want somebody to lobby them to fight for the industry. So as much as it's a Welsh issue, there's nothing to stop a senior MP lobbying them for the benefit of Welsh agriculture.
Yeah, completely true.
It's very true. And that actually leads me to a concern I've got, let alone others. And I know you well enough, Mark. I know that you're a hard worker and everything, but you haven't got the party back in. So how can you possibly do anything meaningful up there?
You're always going to get the opportunity to give you a side in Westminster, and when you're able to write to lobby the Senedd with Westminster back paper, you've always got that behind you to give you some support from your position then.
So the letterhead is going to give you a lot more help and a lot more support and everything in this circumstance then, is it?
In my opinion, well, yeah, because I also understand, now I might be wrong, but I also understand if I write to a county council like BC, let's say, to the he's got to respond.
Yeah,
Very true.
you've got to have response sometimes.
Yeah. But I do believe that it does give you another level of scrutiny then, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand it, and you get you're the voice of the people. Although you can't physically change anything, you can be the voice of the people and lobby on their behalf.
But you've also got the opportunity of involving other people, and if you're standing with a real good, like, it's a massive cause. You know, we need to scrutinise Welsh Water, or Dŵr Cymru, and NRW regarding sewage pollution in Porthcawl, our local rivers, the fishermen, the anglers, the swimmers. You know, it's affecting everybody.
You're right. It really is. That's been a massive issue locally with just the random, out of nowhere, as far as everyone could tell, sewerage that's recently caused very, very high levels. That some of the levels were apparently off the charts that were getting reported.
I don't personally believe that it's such a sudden thing. I just think it's being seen more, reported more, and more notice has been taken of it.
As a general thing, I think you're correct, but it is important for us to note that Welsh Water have actually recently put a statement out stating that apparently one of their tanks broke, and that's what caused the recent one. So it is important for everyone to bear that bit in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to the next question. Is Bridgend is mainly governed by the local authority and the Senedd. So what do you think the biggest issues facing Bridgend that Westminster can actually help with?
Bridgend itself or the ward?
Bridgend, I'm guessing we'll focus Bridgend because that's where you're standing. Right. Bridgend, the whole ward, so Porthcawl and
well, let's look at Bridgend then as the main town. There was a debate and a consultation. I don't quote me on the date, but I think it was in 2016 that there was a consultation with a massive show for de-pedestrianisation of Bridgend.
Yes, it was 2016.
And that was always on the cards. It was always going to happen, but nothing's happening. The can is all. I just got to let the dog out of me. Sorry. The can is just being kicked down the road. You know, businesses are suffering. It's great now to say that we've got a nighttime economy in Bridgend, but we need a daytime economy as well, which is as important. You know, that's Bridgend. Also looking at scrutinising, as I said, for Welsh Water and NRW, for the sewerage pollution in Porthcawl. These were blue flag beaches.
They were, yeah.
You know, Porthcawl, if everything goes as it is, Porthcawl was a seaside town. Now it's going to be a town with a sea.
Yeah, and I think another issue that's happened that was disappointing in the last couple of years was a new level crossing at Pencoed.
That's part of what I'm looking at, is push for more levelling up funding for Pencoed for the Hendra Bridge.
Yeah, because the levelling up funding does come from Westminster and not from the Senedd. Even though the rail lines are devolved to the Senedd, the funding would come from Westminster.
Right. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was somewhere in the region of around 25 million was needed.
That number rings a bell to me, yeah. Something like that.
I don't know. I had the 18 million in my head.
18 was for the Grand Pavilion, wasn't it?
That was 8.
No.
Was it 18?
The Grand Pavilion was 20 million. BCBC are giving 2, and is 18, as I understand, levelling up funding from Westminster.
Okay.
So.
Well, just
no, by all means, carry on. What were you going to say? Sorry, Mark.
Another really important thing that I really feel for, and something which I feel as a Westminster politician you've got more chance of getting success, is lobbying for WASPI, Women Against State Pension Injustice.
Yeah.
I think that is such an important issue that's affected the lives of tens of thousands of people.
Yes, it definitely has. That actually leads us very interestingly into the next question of what do you think are the big issues facing the UK that you can actually help with?
Well, that's one.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel as though whichever government, whether it be Labour, Conservative, whether there'll be a mixture, because who knows if somebody gets a majority? We don't know. It's all fly by at the minute. We got no idea what's going to happen. But we want to fight for local businesses on a national platform, specifically to lower business rates in line with England. We're taxing people out of business rather than keeping people in business. And I speak to that because I should have brought this up earlier, really, is when I was doing my bio. My son Adam's 25 and he's got his own construction company. My daughter works as a manager in MacArthur Glenn's, the retail manager. So, I've got a good idea of the business rates and the other rates and the differences. We need levelling up. And you can only do that, in my opinion, from Westminster to lobby.
Yeah, you can.
You're right. You're very, very right. Yes, definitely. So, do you plan to hold any events over the 6-week campaign?
What do you call an event?
So for people to come out and meet you, chat to you, all those sorts of things.
No, what I think I'm probably as surprised as anybody with the swiftness of the election call for basically what was just over 6 weeks. I really did have in mind it was going to be mid-end of November. But I think probably most people thought the same thing. I don't think anybody really seen it come in so swiftly. But I think the focus of what I'm going to be doing is what I enjoy doing, is knocking doors and speaking to residents. I was qualified as a level 1 and level 2 Welsh Rugby Union referee and volunteered for Bryn Cethyn for some 13 years. I've got a tournament coming up, even though it's a touch tournament. It's a fun tournament. I think it's 10th or 13th of July, which I'm already booked in for. I just enjoy the exercise and volunteering. But no, as for events, I'd be more interested in meeting people, knocking doors, speaking to them about their problems and issues and what they think we can get resolved and what we can do, whether it be as a BCBC councillor or whether it be as a Westminster MP.
Okay, well, with that answer, I think that clears the next question. We'll move on to the question after that, shall we?
That's confused me, Luke.
No, it's okay. I've got my set order of how the questions I want to ask, and the way you answered that actually cancels out one of our questions that we have for you. So I'll move on to: do you plan to vote the way your constituents want, or will you use your judgment, especially on polarizing topics, regardless of your view on it?
I think you can look at it as a combination of the both, because if you're fortunate enough to get voted in, then it shows that people have got their trust in you to represent them in the best way that they feel you can. But I certainly wouldn't want to be making decisions, and this is where I'm fortunate as an independent. I'm not whipped into voting for any way by any party. I'll vote for what I think is for the betterment of the residents and with my conscience as well. Does that sort of go some way to answering your question?
Yeah, it's actually a very good answer, to be honest.
Oh, right.
a very good answer. It's a combination of the two. It really is. You've got to keep talking to your constituents all the time so you can hear their opinions.
That's
and
right.
Not everybody's going to have the same opinion in your constituency. And then you've got to look at it is then bring your judgment into it. What do I think would be best for my constituents?
Absolutely.
And that's the good thing about an independent candidate, because they don't have a party saying, regardless of what your views or what your constituents are, you've got to vote like this. Otherwise, you're out the party.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, I think, saw it very famously with Brexit when their constituents voted one way and MPs went another, and it was up and down the country. No party was innocent on that one. So,
and it happened both sides. Whether some MPs who wanted to leave and their constituents voted to remain, they actually followed their judgment rather than their constituents. And I think the country spoke. Our own MP at that time, Madeline Moon, kept voting against every proposal for Brexit, even though Bridgen overwhelmingly voted to leave Europe.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so much, though, Mark, for coming and joining us tonight. It's
No, I really
been
enjoyed
a
it.
mayhem at the beginning. I do apologise.
But the only thing I would like to say is there's one major party that keeps going on and banging on. It's time for change. It's time for change. Well, I believe it's time for a real change.
yeah, good.
Definitely. Could
Def-
not have said that better ourselves. The quicker we get some real change and real thinkers going on, then I think we'll see a much better improvement in the United Kingdom.
I totally agree.
It will. Well, me and Amy are going to continue talking generally about the election things. We're not going to get into policies or things like that. You're very welcome to join us. I know you're extremely busy. If you have to shoot off, thank you very much for joining us today on this first live stream here. But you're quite welcome to stick around if you can, if you've got other things to do, because I've seen your post on Facebook today. You've been out and about, several different things in it, and I'm sure.
What
Maybe-
it's been interesting today, Luke, and I'll tell you for why. The wife said to me, "You're not going to have time to do anything around here." So I picked them all up from being serviced locally this evening. We cut the grass, we bought plants, we went over to Bringarrow Park to plant to buy plants. We planted, we've weeded, we've cut hedges, we jet washed, we've done everything, and I've been knocking doors as well. And she said, "I don't know." She said, "I'll just leave you to it now." She said, "Now we've done everything here outside." Said, "I think I'm capable of taking over and carrying on with everything." So she said, "You just get on with what you've got to do."
See, there we go. Mark John, a man who can get everything done.
Right, lovely to be on both. Have a good evening, and I will catch you as soon as.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark.
See you soon, Mark.
Bye.
Take care.
Wow. Well, that was good. It's actually good. I've known Mark for a while. As he said, we stood against each other in 2017 in the same area, and I stole his votes that actually didn't get him elected.
Evil.
I know. I apologize many times. He is a nice man. He's genuinely a hard worker and likes to put people's interests before people. That's my personal opinion because I've known Mark for a while now. So I can, that will be my personal opinion. And yes, I suppose it's biased in a way, but you've got to go on how you know people. It'd be the same if I knew any of the other candidates. I'd have to give my opinion of how I see them and how they do if I know them personally.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. Right, I will say all our chats are now open. If anyone wants to jump in, put their own 2 cents in, you're more than welcome. YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. We can see all 3 of you.
We've only got 3 people here.
Actually, we've got quite a few across all 3 of the networks from what I can see. So, yeah.
Can you see the YouTube one? Because I can see the channel, but I can't see how many's actually joined us.
We currently have 6 in YouTube, 18 on Twitch, and all I can see on Rumble is that we have people.
Well, I'd love to say I'm over the moon, but I'm also disappointed because I never had that when I did the Bridgen Political Hour.
See, you needed me.
Yes. Yeah, well, I will say before we carry on with general election chat, we did a practice stream last night. This was about 11 o'clock, and I think it ended about 1 o'clock in the end, didn't it?
We actually went live at midnight. It ended at 1 o'clock. And yeah, there will be a video, but because there's a very strong concern of an accidental breach of terms of service, I have to edit the beginning off, mainly because we're not on OnlyFans.
And it wasn't me.
Yeah, I think everyone could guess that one, Luke.
Yeah, but we started out with such high hopes, but it descended into chaos immediately, didn't it? And it was hilarious. And we had 17 people actually watching on Twitch, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And there was a lot of laughter, a lot of embarrassing moments for Amy.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to the general election talk?
Yeah, sounds good. First thing I want to say out the bat, how on earth did he keep this so quiet? I mean, there was no chatter anywhere saying that this general election was coming. And then all of a sudden we woke up, what was it, Wednesday, Thursday?
Wednesday morning.
We woke up Wednesday morning to, sounds like he's going to call it. Sounds like he's going to call it. Then all of a sudden, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is going to be doing a speech from number 10 Downing Street. Wow.
Yeah, it was chaos because even the Tory MPs didn't know. David Cameron was out in Albania expecting some big parade. They'd even done this massive, massive picture of him. Everybody's waiting to celebrate, and he got called back because Rishi called the election without the parade going ahead, which actually it sounds funny, but why do I don't think, apart from not Theresa May, the other one, Liz Truss, I don't think anybody expected this now. And to call it without even informing your own MPs, your own party, you just come out and do it. There's something else got to be going on there.
That's a brave move. There's no other way for it. It's a brave move, as evidenced by the fact that a number of them have gone, no, we're not going to listen to you, mate. We're going to go and contact the 1922 and get a vote of no confidence. I mean, last I heard, I don't think they've got enough votes.
They haven't. They haven't.
Yeah.
But they've still got till Wednesday night to get enough to call it on Thursday before Parliament shuts on Friday. It's very...
So it may turn out all of this is to waste, but to be fair, I don't think they're going to get enough people to launch that off. But that's a brave move, though. You know full well, no matter what, you're going to have a general election by January 2025. Your leader has called the general election, and the first thing you go and do is write to the 1922 saying, yeah, we don't have any faith in him. We need a no confidence vote. I mean, that's not a good look going into a general election.
It's not. And as Mark said, he was expecting November. Me personally, I was expecting December because the IMF, the Bank of England, think they're going to be 3 rate drops in that time, which would be good news for Rishi Sunak. And he had good news on Tuesday with inflation actually dropping 2.3% from 3.4%. Okay, it wasn't as low as they wanted it to go, but it was moving in the right direction. It hasn't been that low for at least 2 years or a bit longer, I think.
Yeah.
So that was good news. But what bad news is coming? Okay, the immigration figures the other day were bad again, but there was a drop in the first 4 months, which is good. It's going the right way. But what else does he know that's coming that would have completely wiped out the Conservatives? Because that's the only thinking I can think behind this. Instead of waiting for the good news that the economy is going back the right way, we're coming up to December. What else was coming?
Well, we all famously remember Gordon Brown's exit from number 10.
Yes.
The famous piece of paper left on a desk.
Yeah, sorry, no money left.
Wonder if we're going to see another one coming in now if Starmer walks through that door.
It might say, sorry, still no money left.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm really hoping that doesn't happen, but we can't ignore the fact that it happened once. Can it happen again? Is history repeating and this is Sunak trying to get out of the seat quickly?
The thing is that Sunak doesn't really have any concerns. If he doesn't get elected an MP, it's not going to bother him because he doesn't need the money. He's rich beyond belief anyway, him and his wife. But there are a lot of MPs out there, some really hardworking MPs who weren't made aware, and they should have been made aware of this beforehand. It should be a planned event coming up. I'm going to announce on this date the MPs, so they can get themselves in order and
Yeah.
start getting themselves ready. Here, they've just jumped the gun and everybody's scrambling. As I said, Mark only found out Wednesday, he's now scrambling instead of having a time to prepare. And okay, some MPs have been smart and been campaigning for over a year now, especially in Bridgend. But you still have to scramble, and it's making Labour scramble because they've got to get their policies tight and in order and show how they're going to fund the things. We'll talk about that on another live stream at some point, because we're going to do general election specials, and we're going to do an all-night election day special.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to take a couple of breaks in it, but yeah, we're going to go all night from the point that the polls close until we know exactly who's who and where they're going to be sitting.
Either that or you've fallen asleep.
Well, yeah, one of the two. I'll remember to switch the cameras off before anyone falls off. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, because we've been planning Iddawr for nearly 2 months now. We were supposed to launch on the 7th of June. So we had plans. Iddawr's not going to just be talking about political stuff and things like that. We're just going to chat about everyday stuff, things that are going on in the world, general topics. So hopefully there's something for everyone. The election stuff will be captioned with 2024 election special, but we planned thinking that it was possibly going to be around the end of the year, the election. So we thought, we'll see if we can get together and get a hustings together for the candidates, and we live stream it at a hall and get members of the public to ask all the candidates questions if they're willing to do it. We can't do that now. There's no chance of us being able to do that in 6 weeks. Personally, and financially, we can't do it as well because we would have to fund that. By the end of the year, though, we had planned that we were going to do the whole all-night election special, and we had so many plans. But thank you, Rishi, you've thrown them all into chaos, and it has been 48 hours of you working non-stop, not me, Amy working non-stop. So
yeah, pretty much. I am getting a couple of messages in by here from people at the moment. So just wanted to very quickly clarify for anyone that doesn't know, the IMF actually stands for the International Monetary Fund.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I do apologise.
I did the same thing. Yeah, I heard IMF and just went, oh yeah, of course. And to be clear, it's not. It is totally different to the Bank of England. Okay, they are two completely separate organisations. I think as part of one of our educational ones, we maybe touch on IMF versus Bank of England. But if we do that right now, I think we're going to be here all night. And no, thank you.
Not after last night, and not after the chaos of today.
Yes, exactly.
5 minutes before we started, Amy was still editing things ready for the thing, and we had something for the end of the show, for the end of the live stream, and Amy's lost them.
To be clear, I had to restart the entire streaming program, and apparently it didn't save. So here's an educational tip for everybody: save your work as you go.
They're still in the OneDrive if you can pull them up from there.
No, I can't. Once we've gone live, I can't share new sources. All the sources have got to be on here when I hit the go live button. Yeah.
It's a shame. It was, for those of you out there, it's Ed Miliband eating his bacon sandwich and then his choke at himself in Parliament afterwards. It's nice to see MPs actually know when they've done something wrong, that they take a bit of the mick out of themselves and things like that. And a lot of that is missing nowadays, unfortunately. It's very polarizing. Whatever you do, it's more combative rather than trying to generally do good things. You still have opposition, you still had oppositions and differences, but you generally try to work together. But now it seems very polarizing opposites. And I don't think politics has ever been further apart. personally. Not in my lifetime, anyway.
Well, yeah, I think that one's a little bit too of a difficult one. Just more case we need a lot of people with a lot of different views to fully comprehend quite how polarizing politics
Yeah.
can be right now.
Yeah, personally, I would like to see the House of Commons made up of independents. We've tried the party system. It's had its pluses, but it's had a lot of negatives. Has the experiment worked? Let's try with independents for once. See what happens. Because independents do focus on people more than the party. And that's always been the case. No matter what party you're with, your party always can override you unless you're willing to ignore the whip and get suspended by the party.
The whip is extremely powerful.
Which
But to play
some MPs
devil's
have.
True. To play devil's advocate, though, if every single constituency voted an independent person up there, and once they get up there, they don't want to do teamwork.
We don't have
one-
a parliament because you need somebody to be able to form a coalition to do something. And I know,
And
but
it's a gamble. It is a serious
Yeah.
gamble, and it's something that, whilst those of us that love the idea of politicians listening to their constituents, we've got to take into account that sometimes that party model is actually useful. Other times, that party model is just an absolute pain in the backside.
we will say we do have a bleep thing for Amy if she ever does come to swear.
I'm working hard.
We've got that prepared.
I'm working hard. I don't think I slipped up tonight. I think
No,
I've done all right.
No, and with the chaos of last night, you didn't slip up then, which was amazing. It was it was fun. As we say, this the stream we did last night, the test stream, will go up. We weren't going to keep it up, but we thought, yeah, it was such chaos. It was so funny. People like to see things like that. We're not always serious. We're not always going to be serious. There's going to be a lot of fun and laughter. Well, that's what we hope anyway.
Yeah.
And see, come and ask us questions, roast us, try and take the mick out of us. We'll have a bit of banter. We're happy with that. Just don't go personal and nasty. That's all we say. Anything like that, we don't want to hear. But yeah, take the mick out of us.
Yeah, by all means. There's definitely interesting stories due to come out, I've been told. So stick around. Next Friday at 6:30, we're going to be doing technically episode 2 of our normal stream.
Well, no, yeah, technically episode 2 of the normal stream.
We haven't got plans at the moment of doing another general election special in the meantime, but keep an eye on the socials just in case.
We are going to be writing to the other candidates in Bridgend, and we'll start looking further afield than that as we go along. Invite people to come on, have a chat, put themselves over to the public. Whether they will or not is another matter. If they do, keep an eye out. We'll let you know when it is. Yeah.
But on the description of this video, there is a link to all our socials. So you pick whichever one is easiest for you. You've got our YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble, X, Discord, TikTok, Instagram. Yeah, you've literally got everything. So if you want to get in contact with us,
and Facebook.
Yeah, I said Facebook.
Oh, did you? I missed that one.
So get in contact with us however you fancy. If there's a topic you want us to touch on, if there's a particular guest you want us to try and get on, or even if you want to come on and have a conversation about something. Maybe we've said something and you think we've got a hot take or bad take in general and you want to come and give your version of it. By all means, give us a shout. More than welcome, and we'll see what we can organise.
And we have a website as well.
Yes, we do have a website. I was hoping you weren't going to mention that one right this minute, just because there's a big banner at the top saying going live on the 7th of June, because I haven't been able to update it yet. Thanks, mate.
Well, no, thank Rishi Sunak for that, not me.
But yeah, by all means, drop us messages with anything that you want us chatting about. We're going to be touching on gaming. We've got a very interesting. Can I actually say the one that we were originally planning for episode 2? Have you actually confirmed it properly? Or
I can't. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't remember what we were going to talk.
the one that you spoke to a mutual friend of ours about?
Oh, that was for the 14th of June.
Yeah. Can I actually tease that one right now, or
not
not
at the moment,
confirmed?
because I haven't sent the official email yet inviting that person on. We'll do it closer to the time. May actually delay it slightly. Yeah, might actually still do it for the 14th of June if we can, because that's a few weeks away. It gives us a bit more chance for Amy to actually learn technology in some way and not make the system, make it actually work.
I'm figuring out new things all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be touching on lots of different things: politics, gaming, celebrity news. But I'm not doing gossip. I don't care about. I'm going to finally use my swear button. I don't care about Amanda Heard in Johnny Depp's bed. I don't care.
Yeah, what we talk about celeb news is if somebody's in court, if they're going through divorce, that's fact. It's not gossip. It's going through facts, and we discuss actual facts or thereafter. We're not going to say, "Oh, somebody's rumored to be sleeping with so and so." It doesn't bother us. It's got nothing to do with us. I don't think it's got anything to do with the rest of the world. People should have their personal lives personal.
So yeah, thank you all for coming and joining in. Oh, you've got something else?
Yes, it's to do with the website. From tomorrow, there will be limited edition merchandise going on sale related to the first live stream.
We have got one for last night. There's going to be one for the general election tonight. If you want it, by all means. To be 100% honest, though, I'm not expecting anyone to be looking at that merch site for a very long time with the amount of mayhem that is happening on these streams, Luke.
Yeah, I know, but there's going to be. We are putting out a limited edition this week for 1 week for the first live stream. If anybody wanted it, it does help support us. But I know it takes time. But if the limited edition is going to be there, so may as well advertise it.
Right. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep an eye on all our socials, ready for the next one. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you, Amy.
Have a great weekend. Ta-ra, guys.
Ta-ra.